on Final Time. Hello everyone, it's time for the final of Grand Prix Vancouver 2016. On the left of your screen is Adam Jansen, and he is going to go up against, he's from Hot Sauce Games, he's up against that man, Jeremy Dezani, the former Player of the Year. Dezani, the 8th seed, Jansen the 6th, so Jansen is on the play. And Randy, what can we expect here in the final?
I love Adam Jansen's deck list. It's blue-red. It's full of good cards. I feel like I've been watching Jeremy Dezani the whole top 8. I'm like, oh yeah, you can build a deck out of good cards, can't you? I mean, look, full credit to Jeremy Dezani. He doesn't need good cards to win, which is the highest of compliments you can pay to a Magic player, I think. Among the highest. But Adam Jansen's deck looks really good to me. Couple Sky Spawners, Outnumber, Touch of the Void.
And this,
yes,
Jury and Ruin Diver.
I was about to go there. Jury and Ruin Diver is great. You know what rare featured in Fabrizio and Terry's Grand Prix Mexico City winning deck?
I do, but your question was rhetorical, so I'll let you answer it yourself.
Jury and Ruin Diver.
There we go.
Could win 2 out of 3 Grand Prix on the weekend.
The 2/3 for 1 blue and a red, legendary creature, Merfolk Wizard. And whenever you cast your second spell each turn, brackets Surge maybe, draw a card.
Yeah, this is a Surge deck. It's also got a couple Umara Entanglers at the bottom of the curve, which is not a card a lot of people are very high on. There's 2 main deck Umara Entanglers for Adam Jansen, which, I mean, on the one hand, it might sound a little janky, but on the other hand, guess what was in Fabrizio and Terry's Grand Prix Mexico City winning deck list? 2 main deck Umara Entanglers.
Okay.
Yeah, blue-red could kind of sweep the day here. Look the way it was yesterday.
Right.
From our perspective.
It's a dazzling reflection in Dezani's hand. See Valakut Predator and Goblin Zada's Commando on board. Jansen, who made his way past Alan Sun in the quarterfinals and then Nick Slind in the semis. Dezani took out A.O. Paquette, the hometown hero, in the quarters, 2-0. And then Gabe Carlton Barnes in the semi-final.
Waste has now officially made an appearance in the final.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't do a ton. What is it in here for? That Mobilizer Eldrazi activation.
Jansen's going to reach out with Touch of the Void for the Valakut Predator. Doesn't want to be hit for 4 a turn.
And his second spell? Surely there's a second spell.
I think there is.
Oh, is it a Surge Free Runner? Tell me it's a Surge Free Runner.
Oh, it's Grip of the Royal.
Surge Grip of the Royal. Good enough.
Yeah. Draw
Lock
a card,
that
draw
down,
a card.
Draw a card. Draw another card.
Yep. Double draw. Nice.
Oh, and we get an attack, too.
Yeah, this is very nice.
You laughed at me when we were putting the cards to watch together for this weekend, but, you know, there's the waste. Okay, fine. Just really, no, not like it's been a good card, but on the colorless cards, the one I put up as the card to watch is in Adam Jansen's deck. He's running a Bonesaw.
Is he indeed?
He's running 1 main deck copy of Bonesaw. When you get enough Surge, it becomes Dark Ritual. I mean, Cantrip Dark Ritual you play. Put Jury and Ruin Diver in play. Now it's a Cantrip Dark Ritual.
McKindy Aeronaut for Jeremy Dezani. 1/3 flyer. It's an ally, so that's relevant to the Commando in terms of turning on Cohort for 1 damage to the opponent. Usually at end of their turn.
You know, there were actually 2 Bonesaws that got played in this top 8. A.O. Paquette had one in his Weapon Trainer's deck.
Oh, okay. So here's Eldrazi Skyspawner to begin the turn for Adam Jansen. He has a Scion available if he wants to get up to 6 mana and have 3,
Of course there's a second
he's
spell.
not going to need 3. He's just going to use 2, so he gets the full value out of the Skyspawner.
Oh,
and
there
there
is the free
is
runner.
Goblin Free Runner with Surge, its Menace, its Draw a Card.
This is awesome.
This is beautiful.
Full-on blue-red Surge deck on display. He does not have the Pyromancer's Assault, right? Oh, you know what? He drafted a Pyromancer's Assault, and he left it in the sideboard.
Now, Anteri decided that he was sufficient, that he was going to play his Pyromancer's
Yes.
Assault.
That is interesting.
Yeah. In the final of Grand Prix Mexico City a few hours ago. That was a real heavyweight clash as well. Fabrizio Anteri was up against Tomohiro Saito in the final of Mexico.
Jorian Ruined Diver. I mean, it looked great when I saw the spoiler. I have not yet had the pleasure
Of doing turns like this repeatedly.
Yeah, but it seems like, you know, once you start drawing cards, once you play 2 spells, your odds of playing 2 spells again are supposed to go down. Jorian Ruined Diver seems to kind of invert that. All right, Immobilizer Eldrazi. The first spell for the turn. He's still got 3 cards in his hand, I think. Is one of them a spell? Of course. Oh my God.
Of the Titans.
Are you kidding?
Surge this.
Are you serious? I was just thinking Zada Commando is actually kind of holding off the free runner at all with his first strike, but
If Marshall Sutcliffe were here right now, he would be talking about best case scenario mentality, because you are watching the dream, the poster child, the full on put it on your bedroom wall version of Surge. This is nuts, Surge.
this is awesome.
I've got a 1/4 vigilant ally. Look, here I am.
Do Greathorn joins the board for Dezani.
We can tell you, incidentally, you may want to adjust your sound at home a little bit, because we are now in a vast cathedral-like space that no longer has 2,000 people in it. And although we are a fair way from the feature match area, Loud Us in Loud Hall, Echoey Hall, can be heard towards the feature match area. So we're going to tone it down a little bit here with you.
Turn them sideways.
Yep.
The creatures. Eldrazi Displacer says, no blocking with that, and no blocking with that. How about just no blocks? Be it 3. GL. Dezani's got 5 spells in his hand. Only has 1 white mana, can't play a Stasis Snare. There's almost a smirk on Dezani's face. Am I misreading that? It's just like, I cannot believe what happened to me. Like, no one could possibly have survived this onslaught.
Yeah,
Maybe even a begrudging respect from the opponent when that happens, right?
So, you and I really enjoyed Game 3 of Gabe Carlton Barnes' quarterfinal against Eric Severson.
Sure.
Which would you rather watch? That one Game 3 or this game 10 times? Because you could fit that in quite comfortably.
They're very different kinds of fun.
Yeah. Why don't we take a look at the deck lists for these two players? They're getting a look at what each other is doing. So here is Adam Jansen with blue-red. Why don't you walk us through this, Randy? Everything is one here if it doesn't say one explicitly. The only thing that's more than that, the 2 Eldrazi Skyspotter, 2 Amara Entangler, 2 Goblin Freelancer. So tell me, walk us through the deck.
Yeah, I mean, I like the card quality up and down the list. I mean, Umara Entangler's the one that's like, people aren't super high on Entangler, but it feels good here in that it's both an early blocker that can, trade and keep him alive long enough to set up his Surge shenanigans, and then also a process creature. I mean, sorry, a prowess creature. Cyclone Sire is great. Gravity Negator, he's got some flyers. And I mean, the Jorian Ruin Diver is obviously the superstar here. But a Mobilizer Eldrazi can also get a lot of work done. Now you see, what is that? 6, 7, 8, 9,
13.
10, 11. It's only 13 creatures.
Right.
There's a lot of spells. That's kind of how blue-red has to work if it's going to work.
I was going to ask you, is that roughly the right mix to you? Is it more a 15-8 in an ideal world, or is 13-10 about what you think these decks look like?
I don't think you can go to the normal 15, 16 creatures in one of these decks and still make all the Surge shenanigans work.
Right.
I mean, I think, and the thing is that you look at cards like Expedite, there's a couple, Slip Through Space, and these are cards that all they really say is, I am a spell, replace me. Right, they're Surge enablers, so it's like those 13 creatures that the deck has like the density of more like a 14 creature deck, because you have a little more velocity with a bunch of cantrips like that. So another way you can get away with 13 creatures.
So we move on to Jeremy Dezani, who is also red, but in a very different way.
Oh yeah,
red-white, singletons all the way, except for 2 allied reinforcements. Right now, I'm going to let you have a little chat to the viewers about this deck, and then you're going to be joined by Marshall Sutcliffe, who is going to be here to take you through game number 2 of the final of Grand Prix Vancouver.
Yeah, this is more of a 15-8, which makes sense, and those allied reinforcements are really creatures, so it's more like a 17 creature deck, and you see that as we've watched Jeremy. He is just playing a creature, constantly playing out creatures. Got a couple of nice support additions to the team in the Expedition Raptor and the Relief Captain. His spells, if they're not creatures, then they're removal, couple of tricks in Sure Strike, and a couple of cantrips. I mean, the deck is...
This deck does not look very good, Randy.
The individual card, it's not good. I'm not trying to say it's good. If I made this joke to Rich, it was almost refreshing to look at Adam Jansen's deck, sitting down, having
of good cards
to see
and
good
a bone
cards.
saw?
Have you looked at this whole list?
No, I haven't looked at
a bunch of good cards and a bone saw. That's your list. I'm telling you, you can. There are decks.
I may have
where
oversimplified things.
bone saw is good.
No, I agree. I actually think
You're in.
They just asked in the chat, "Is this a bone saw approved deck list?" And I said yes.
There you
I
go.
would put a bone saw in this deck.
There
absolutely.
you go.
Look, there's a narrow slice of decks that actually want a bone saw. This is one of them.
Yeah,
not Jeremy's, but the other one.
I agree. I think the majority of bone saws should be in the sideboard, but not all of them. Yeah, I mean, look, Dezani's card quality, it came up a little short. He was struggling to find his colors. You can go back and watch the draft, and it was interesting. Like, his first pick was kind of controversial, and his early Vampire Envoys were kind of controversial. Didn't really look out. He was trying to find his home. But I mean, I've watched him draft, a couple of times in these last few years.
Yeah.
He's really been, one of the stars, and he does that in draft. He gambles with his mana base sometimes to get extra colors for extra power, and he's willing to force in a draft, move into another color. And look, you cannot argue with the seat at the table in the finals.
All right, so here we go. Jeremy Dezani kicks things off with Reckless Cohort, looking to even things up against Adam Jansen, who finds himself up a game after pretty incredible game one from Adam.
Were you watching it from do you have a ringside seat?
I only watched a little bit of it, and then I had to get over here to stage to get in, and I missed the big finish or whatever.
It involved Fall of the Titans.
Wow, I guess the Surge theme deck really is a thing, isn't it? And we see, though, here's Jeremy Dezani
collection of all-stars.
Following up. I mean, both of these, neither of these
Crew.
cards are particularly good in his list, but, this is what it is. Tell you, if you're gonna build a scrappy little deck, it is red-white almost every time, too, not just in this format, but in Magic.
If you have a good curve and a beatdown deck, you can get away with playing
absolutely
trashy creatures.
It's totally true. They have power, they have toughness. You've got some combat tricks, some removal, and a decent curve of creatures, and you can do it. Wow, nothing on turn 4 from Dezani? In the matches we've seen earlier, allied reinforcements came down.
Yeah, it's true.
And was quite impressive, I'll say, too. All right, a gravity negator here for Adam Jansen is going to stabilize this board. And remember,
Well,
that
it's gonna
Kozilek Sentinel is not an ally.
Exactly. If Jeremy doesn't do something, Negator gets to eat the cohort.
So he just ripped Isolation Zone, and he may need to use it on the negator here, which is fine. You know,
Yeah.
4 for 4,
What?
and the negator's a pretty good card.
You clear your blocker attack for 3. That's been the recipe.
That's it.
It's been the recipe since Adam Jansen started playing 20 years ago.
Now, if Adam has an ally in his hand, then he can not do that if he chooses.
Jeremy, yeah.
Excuse me, if Jeremy has something else that's an ally, then he can keep his Reckless Cohort back in.
Did he slow roll Relief Captain? Is that what's going on with this draw?
Well, could be.
See, Isolation Zone, isn't that? Oh, it's Expedition Raptor, I see.
Okay, land
Okay.
Raptor. And that looks pretty nice
Yeah,
here.
now Reckless Cohort is a 3/3,
Yeah.
and
Still must attack.
yeah, it's a bird and an Eldrazi drone.
Yeah.
No allies anywhere in sight. I'm going in.
And he's going to get in there for 3 and drop Jansen down to 13. So, or excuse me, to 12. So, you know, all told, Dezani skipped the 4th turn, but he made a nice little comeback there.
Yep.
With the Expedition Raptor. And the ball's definitely in Adam Jansen's court here. The board that Jeremy's assembled here will get the job done if Adam doesn't commit some stuff to the board and start stabilizing here. Maybe a Cinder Hellion, something along, you know, a nice 4/4 on the ground would do good work. Maybe gobble up that cohort. Of course, we know that Dezani has that Isolation Zone still sitting safely in his hand, so Jansen's attempt to stabilize may be thwarted here. Anyway, let's see what he's got. 5 mana. And he's going to press into service here.
Wow.
He must have had no other play this turn, because
Right.
that is not what he wants to do
No.
here. He's going to basically trade his whole turn to get a +1/+1 counter on his Gravity Negator
Wow.
and get in for, 2 damage.
It
That is
does.
not what the doctor ordered here.
It is
for
a
Adam
relevant
Jansen.
+1/+1 counter for the way the board stands. Though, again, we know about an Isolation Zone in Jeremy's hand.
Yeah, and I think that's going to not spend
Oh,
much
yeah.
more time in his hand here.
We
and this is
were willing
big.
to clear a path to get through for 3. Now clearing
How about
now
7?
Yeah, exactly.
A little upgrade there. Wow. And, I mean, this feels like a...
Or the
press-
first pick. I'll
press
show
into
you
service
press
of
into
your own-
service. It's lethal.
That's actually lethal.
That's lethal.
That is totally lethal.
You know what would not
Wow. Jeremy Dezani just put a thumping on Adam Jansen to force game 3 here.
You know what? The Rare Legend would not have been lethal right there. Wow, Jeremy Dezani. Look, sometimes the trashy little beatdown deck gets there. This is if your opponent gets their bomb cards, your curve out trashy little beatdown deck is going to lose. But I don't know. To me, trashy little beatdown deck is a term of endearment.
Hi, Randy.
Hey, Rich.
You survived game 2 then.
Yeah,
Got all the way there.
You let Marshall in the booth for about 30 seconds.
Yep. General Tazri
Would not have won the game there.
no longer doing anything in this top 8. Jeremy Dezani still is. Press into service. First pick. Game in the final.
Look,
That's worth
it looked-
$5,000 if he wins 10.
It looked pretty good right there. I mean, the scenario lined itself up just fine, but
Well, yeah. That's how to
Oh.
make cards look good.
oh, by the way, Isolation Zone would have been almost as good.
Right.
Would have removed the only creature and knocked Adam down to a couple. But press into service got the job done. Wow.
So Jeremy Dezani into double figures in Grand Prix top 8.
Yeah, this is number 10. 2 wins.
Yep.
300 batting average. He could play in the majors.
He's played in the majors. He's won the majors. He has the green jacket to really mix our sporting metaphors. And
Gotta get more sports involved in this metaphor.
I'm sure we can. But if we both did, then that would be a double fault. So let's not do that. But Dezani against Jansen, 1 game for $10,000 US.
It's a big game.
They are not just the last 2 players standing. They're almost the last 2 people in the building, because even This is Magic history if you come to GPs. Even the Super Sunday series is over. This really is literally the last game of Magic of this incredible triple-header
I see two
Grand
people
Prix
on
weekend.
that one table over there that are still playing Magic. I think there's at least one other game of Magic still going on in the convention center.
A clue. Adam Jansen came in a car. All right, let's do this. The final game of a phenomenal weekend of Magic.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Great set. And we are all set for the Pro Tour in Atlanta.
Yeah, Oath looks great. Magic is great.
You'll see both of them. Let's get this done with Immobilizer Eldrazi out first for Adam Jansen. With his blue-red Surge deck, we've already seen a blue-red winner this weekend, Fabrizio Anteri in Mexico City. Jeremy Dezani with Zada's Commando, Ally being the key there.
It's funny. I feel like the weekend makes more sense if the red-white allies deck wins. If you have blue-red Surge, you have green-white support, you have red-white allies, you get sort of this nice mixture of what seems to matter in this limited format. But Adam's deck looks better and cooler. But the ability to draft blue-red on Magic Online probably goes down dramatically if it wins 2 out of 3 GPs. It's going to be a little harder to put this together if that happens.
Eldrazi, Sky Spawner, plus Friend. That feels like a card that broadly, for all the ups and downs in the format, has broadly just stayed, but in almost the same way. It's just as good as it was.
I actually think it's a little better.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the Scions produce C. Like the Scions are just they're hard to come by, but support loves to have Scions floating around, and the C cards love to have Scions floating around. I think it's actually a little bit better. Oh, that is a Spark Mage's Gambit.
And a half, as it were.
Holy.
And then in comes the first striker, Jeremy Dezani, doing so much with so little. Oh, fantastic stuff.
The man does not need cards to win. He back. He was a beast 18 months ago.
Oh, phenomenal.
Kind of took a year off. Maybe wasn't 100% focused on Magic. Had a bad year.
Really did.
Is he back?
He won his last 2 rounds to get into the top 8, and in doing so, chained together Pro Tour invites.
Yeah.
He's in for the season. And now...
Oh, Spark Mage's Gambit. That is the best case scenario. That was insane.
So, Valakut Invoker is a very, very long game card.
Yeah, fair.
In terms of its activation.
Yeah, it's also a 2/3.
That is a very present consideration. So we've got Zada's Commando.
It's turn 4, time for allied reinforcements, right? Isn't that how Jeremy's games all go?
Yes. Yes, it is. Always. He does have 2 of them.
He does have 2 of them. That's why he went back into white after passing Tazri.
Yeah, Gabe Carlton Barnes ended up with the legendary general. Dezani passes. And puts dice on top of his deck to go, before I come to you, I must be doing something.
What was I? Oh, ping you for 1, right.
Oh, that's right. Jansen for 1 mana? Is this?
It's Expedite. Cycle, and maybe there's a Surge play coming. I notice a distinct lack of Jorian Ruin Diver on Adam Jansen's board. It seems to be the big difference between the game that he won in crushing, amazing, dream scenario.
It was the straight-up card drawing engine.
God, that first game was just, this is what you're supposed to do with Surge. I'm not sure many of us will get to do all of what he did.
Jansen just passed there after the Expedite.
Wow. He really did cast Fall of the Titans with Jorian Ruin Diver in play, didn't he? Surged out Fall of the Titans with Jorian Ruin Diver.
You saw
that happened.
Yeah. But since then, it's been all Dezani.
Yeah, 2 1s and 2 2s.
Now belligerent Whiptail.
He's assembled like a bad 80s metal band. There's just this motley crew of awful creatures.
Did you just say a motley crew after saying a metal band?
I did.
I can't believe you did that. All right. All right, Adam Jansen. How did the Expedite help you towards advancing your board? Part of the answer is I headed towards my 8 mana for my Valakut Invoker. which shoots everything in the world over on the other side.
Yep.
I mean, Jansen's there for one activation should he need it, because he has 2 Scions. So Dezani will not be looking to commando Jansen to death from 16. There's going to be a lot more to the plan than that.
There's belligerent whiptail.
In. Jansen says, sure, I will take some damage. Quite a lot as it happens. From 16 down to 12. Dezani with McKindy Aeronaut. You see there? Is also sitting there with his dazzling reflection.
That card's had a good weekend.
Yes, it has.
It has looked better
it
than I
has.
think people were expecting it to. Aeronaut, and what did he play off the top of the screen?
Eldrazi Aggressor. I do believe. Let's we'll see if we can get that moved down a little bit. Rashad's already on the case for that. Make sure we don't lose track of that one.
Eldrazi Aggressor with no other colorless creatures in sight.
Mm-hmm. The vanilla 2/3. Jansen up to 7 lands but 9 mana.
Yeah, Jeremy's just like, I have 17 creatures, a couple combat tricks, a couple more removal spells. Let's fight.
Jansen's at 11. There we are. Making sure we can see everything that's going on. It didn't seem likely at the end of the draft that Dezani had a deck that was the, quotes, best deck at the table.
He doesn't have the best deck at the table.
Okay.
Even if he wins, he doesn't have the best deck
Sure.
at the table.
Yeah, I agree that is not statistical proof of that.
No, I mean,
but yeah.
I think the narrative, if he wins, is he was the best player in the top 8. Those are different things.
Very much so. Which honestly is why I find him so compelling to watch.
Sure.
Because I look at cards and think, I don't value that card very highly, or I haven't had a lot of success with that, or I don't really see how Eldrazi Aggressor as a 2/3 without haste is particularly powerful, or I've never put Belligerent Whiptail in my red decks.
Look, his deck has a plan. If you count the allied reinforcements as 2 creatures, which is kind of how they feel,
yes,
he's got like 19 creatures. Like 19 or 20. He's just going to go wide, not with repeatable token makers, but most of the cards in his deck are just creatures. And you get enough of them, and, they've got they've got 1, 2, 3 to block with, but then it's a couple Scions and a 2/1 flyer, and maybe they're going to pick off one of your creatures, but you're going to get through for damage around the edges.
Right.
There's 6 attackers here, so
yep,
2 of them are getting through. And then sometimes you have a combat trick in your hand. And suddenly their one good blocker doesn't do what it was supposed to do, and you get to attack again next turn, and you just still have them outnumbered.
Yeah,
the thing that Dezani doesn't have much in the way of card quality, but what he does have, he has a plan. Like, he put together a deck with a plan for how he was going to win with this, collection of cards. This is how this collection of cards can win the Grand Prix.
I mean, to be fair, Jansen has a plan and good cards.
Yeah, but his plan does require him to draw the right good cards.
Fair.
Like, it doesn't really have a plan without Ruin Diver in play.
So, here comes the shoot.
Yeah. This
From
is the other
Valkyrie
reason why Jeremy has to
and-
turn everything sideways is Predators Online.
But here's his answer. He's saying, no, actually. Dazzling Reflection says, your Valakut Invoker does
Oh,
nothing.
that works?
Yeah.
That turns off the activated ability too?
Yeah.
That's insane.
Right? Yeah.
It's the next time the creature deals damage. I don't know the exact wording on Dazzling Reflection.
The exact wording. You gain life equal to target creature's power. The next time that creature would deal damage this turn, comma, prevent that damage. He
So
has 2 more allies.
So Adam
Jeremy
sacked a Scion.
Yeah.
and didn't even get to Predator anything, and now there's two more
7
2/2s.
creatures. 7 creatures to 1. Jeremy Dezani does not lose when his back's against the wall. He is the most ferocious player I think I may have ever seen, outside Olivier Ruel.
It's pretty impressive.
You just cannot open the door to the man.
Jansen's down to a 2/3. Wow.
Extraordinary magic. A late night thriller in Canada. What can Jansen do? He's got
Yeah, I don't know.
2 cards.
I don't know how he gets out of this. Like his deck doesn't really have sweepers. He has to kind of deal with each creature one at a time, and the allied reinforcements has really been the MVP for Jeremy.
Yeah, so he has 3 creatures against 6. He's at 8.
All right, now we've got a first striker. 2/3. I mean, feels like any trick from Jeremy is going to be good enough. I mean, at this point, what the aeronaut is getting through in the air.
5 is the minimum damage.
Right.
Pair
As
of
Jansen
allies.
all in, he has no cards in his hand.
I believe that's true, yes. Nothing.
So yeah,
So
Jeremy's getting at least 5. The question is
and
just
Jeremy's like, okay, so you put your 2/3 in front of my 2/3, so you've still got your invoker. You put your 2 on first striker in front of my ally to kill it, and you sacrifice the goblin free runner to the belligerent whiptail with with landfall once landfall happens.
sure.
So I'm pretty. Yeah, so they can now trade off the
Right.
commando.
Yeah, Jeremy loves to try to dictate his opponent's blocks in ways that aren't quite right. You have to pay attention. Like his suggested blocks are not usually the right blocks for you
Sure.
to make.
But the 5 damage is entirely correct.
There's no way to avoid it.
And now it is 3 creatures against 1. The Valakut Invoker does have the ability to shoot something.
Yeah, but yeah, it's true. This board is
There's
Jeremy
8.
does not yet have this. Does Jeremy have no cards in his hand as well?
He does not, because he played the 1 land that he drew that
Oh
turn
my
to give the
God.
belligerent whiptail first strike.
So Adam
Jansen-
is very live here, isn't he?
He is. He can block a 2/3.
His-
He can shoot a 2/2, and then take 1 in the air from the McKinley Aeronaut. Or if he wants the flyer off the board, he can just block a 2/2, take out the Aeronaut and take 2 and drop to 1.
God, is Invoker actually going to take over this game?
Oh, it has. There is that possibility. It is.
21-3. Can Jeremy Dezani? What does he have for direct damage?
I was going to say, surely he's got something sitting there, like a hemorrhage, reality hemorrhage, maybe.
He has 3 consuming sinkholes in his sideboard.
In
How
his
insane would that
sideboard,
be?
In his sideboard.
Well, I mean, they
Yeah,
started
well,
in his
well, right,
sideboard.
right,
Who
right.
knows where they are for game
Right.
3?
he has a press into service.
He does have a press into service. That would be insane. That's yeah. There's not. He does not have burn spells. He didn't actually get to draft the good cards. Yeah, there's no actual burn unless he brought in consuming sinkhole.
Okay.
I mean, Sure Strike could win the game if it gets to time it right
Right.
after a Predator activation.
Stasis Snare would be sufficient.
Yeah, I mean, anything that deals with Predator wins in the game.
Yeah.
But it basically has to be now. By next turn, his board will be whittled away. Right, and he also has to decide if he doesn't have an answer to Predator. He has to decide if he wants to attack with all 3, which means Predator gets to eat a 2/2. Predator gets to shoot one of the other creatures. He's guaranteed to get through for a point. If he attacks with just the flyer, Predator just shoots it.
Thought for the future.
Okay.
Let's imagine an empty board with just a Valakut Invoker on it. And it goes attack. Jeremy's got a Searing Light in his deck. Destroy target attacking or blocking creature with power 2 or less.
All right, Jeremy's not willing to let the Predator block a 2/2, so he attacks with just a flyer, and the Predator just shoots it down.
Mm.
Valakut Predator may actually be able to...
Invoker.
Invoker
Yeah.
has, in fact, stabilized. Jeremy got him to 3.
There would be something so delicious about press into service.
Yeah.
Dezani has 2 land right
Yeah,
now,
he just drew a
but
land.
we will
He's
say
drawn-
that very quietly.
He's
for-
drawn land.
But yeah.
Yeah, press into service would be...
But he does have time.
Quite the
because
story.
apart from anything else, Jansen needs 8 mana up.
yes.
So, in a sense, it doesn't matter what Jansen's drawing because he's not going to have the mana to do anything
For
with
a couple
it for a while.
turns.
For a while, probably. Shoot this. Jeremy's still at 21. There are some turns.
Wow.
Magic keeps on giving us great games.
Something is better than killing a 2/2 for free?
No.
Oh, it's just main phase. Just kill it. I assume you attack.
And then a land.
I mean,
do
you know
you-
Searing Light
d-
exists, but like he's out of cards. All he's done is draw
Okay.
and say go. Yeah, I don't think you play around Searing Light there. You want to deny him draw steps is the thing.
That looks to me like relief captain.
Yeah, that's what I thought I saw too. Nothing to no troops to support. They're all dead.
And so will relief captain be. So he
Dezani
has-
can feel it slipping away.
but the thing is,
He's like,
he
I
can-
should have sideboarded in consuming sinkhole.
well, fine, but the thing is, if he starts going, he can either play to make the relief captain relevant in terms of getting support, and have a turn where he can,
Yeah.
put
He wants to
himself to
go-
6-8 life maybe, and then have a turn of 2 creatures and a relief captain.
Yeah, that's the line.
So, but there's another line, which is make the relief captain and say, you now have to spend a turn shooting this. I'm going to keep making single
How does that win
things.
though? Like if
Well,
he had
it wins if he then presses into service, because if you always make Jansen spend 8,
Preston Service doesn't win the game. It only attacks for 2.
and he doesn't have it, yep, okay.
Yeah, no, he can't press
So
into service and then activate the Predator.
He can't find a way
Yeah,
to
which is
do
why
that.
it was super interesting
Yeah.
when he had the 2 allies and the
The
flyer.
Invoker.
Like if he attacks with all 3, he could have gotten in for 1 damage that turn. Like Jansen could be at 2.
So it is now sepulchral here at Grand Prix Vancouver.
I drew it.
He's drawn press.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. If he made that 1 attack different, Jansen would be at 2.
Dezani passes. Press has support 2.
What's the
Press into
order though?
service.
Can you steal the creature and then support onto your opponent's creature? That works. Why didn't he just do it then? Oh, it'll commit suicide if he does that. Which is still
that's-
good.
I'm going to say, that's not the worst thing ever.
Is it the order you steal
Support
it and then
2.
support? Or is it
Says
support then
2.
steal?
The first thing it says is support 2.
Oh, so you can't.
Put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures.
Jorian Ruin Diver is here.
But you, yeah.
Oh, can you
So
support?
you would support 2.
You can
put a
support onto your
counter
opponent's
on-
creatures?
Yes.
Oh, you
But-
can
but-
support
but
onto
you-
your
but-
opponent's creatures.
But the still response happens. The response still happens. As
Sure.
you say, the commit suicide is viable.
But that's still great.
Right, we are being extraordinarily careful. To those of you at home who are thinking, are they whispering? Yeah, we almost are now, because we're at the point where, really, although we're a good like 25, 30 feet away, you can hear a pin drop in here. So, we are not going to start shouting when someone wins. So, even then, you can turn your speakers up just a little bit, or turn the gain on your headphones just a tad, so you can still hear us. Jansen at 3, Dezani at 12. Dezani has his first pick. So
I didn't realize support didn't say creatures you control.
No, just each of up to 2 target creatures.
Right,
Means
so
you
that
can do
then the
things
order
like
just
smite
totally
the
doesn't matter.
monstrous and things like that.
Cool.
I would like to cast Press into service.
So he's clearly indicated the target. Support, he doesn't have to choose until it resolves.
So Jansen.
Has 8 mana left.
Yeah.
Yeah, who knows how long he's had Jorian Ruin Diver in his hand. He wasn't going to play it
Right.
and not have 8 mana untapped.
Yes. So 8.
Kill my own creature.
And then
Yeah, I wonder if he was supposed to do this on the Invoker.
right. Because then
He could have last turn. I mean, this turn, Jorian Ruin Diver would have jump blocked. But last turn, he could have made this play when it was just the Invoker, and the Invoker
Mhm.
would have been forced to kill itself.
yeah. So Dezani passes. Proto top 8 competitor Melissa DeTora watching on. Jansen getting closer and closer.
This is
He
unbelievable.
has 6
I
points
thought he was
of
dead.
the 3 to you, untap, 3 to you.
Yeah, Dezani's
we're
effectively...
A turn and a half away.
Dezani gets one more turn.
hmm
And seeing that, he's going to have to start playing stuff.
Yeah.
So here's
So-
a full price free runner, which he's
Mhm.
going to follow up with a relief captain.
And put a counter on. And now he has.
Attempt to put a counter on. We'll see if
Mhm.
the Invoker has a thing to say about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'll just wait. Make sure Jeremy's done. And then do it end step.
It's gone. Jansen untaps. Valakut Invoker, for the longest of long games, is just machine gunning Adam Jansen towards $10,000 and the title of Grand Prix Vancouver Champion 2016. Jeremy Dezani has done everything with a deck that the phrase solid but unspectacular was perhaps invented for. Jansen has a touch of the void. I think he's also got Stone Fury. He has all of the toys. In comes the Invoker.
That 2 threatens lethal next turn.
Right.
Last draw step, Jeremy.
Here we go.
Expedition Raptor, I think.
Yep. Sufficient
got
for
to.
one more draw step.
Buys him a draw step, exactly.
Because now we go, except it won't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. If Jansen draws a land, he can Stone Fury and have 8.
Oh, I see. So he's going to burn Jeremy there. Because a land lets him go Stone Fury
5.
and activate and win it here.
Mm-hmm. And he has enough land for Stone Fury to count.
It's close, but yeah.
Yeah, we can say enough.
Slip into
Slip.
space. Slip into space for the
And
win.
that is game, set, and match. And
Wow.
Adam Jansen, you're looking at him there. He wins $10,000 US. Team Hot Sauce gets it done.
Wow.
Adam Jansen is your champion. And what an absolutely fantastic
I can't
match
believe he won
that
that
is.
game.
And that means that we have our 3 champions. There you see them. From Nagoya, from Mexico City, Adam Jansen completes the trilogy. What a great job. There you see him with the trophy. He'll be right here with us in just a couple of moments. He's going to come across here and we
Crazy.
will have him come and talk to us
It was an impressive battle from Jeremy Dezani. Like, he took a pile of mediocre cards and got so close. 3 points in that last game. I thought he had it, too. Like, he was turning everything sideways, looked like he had it, but blue-red wins its second GP of the weekend.
Just phenomenal.